Hello guys, it's me Max, and today I'm gonna discuss with you some tips and tricks other creators might have not told you about and things you might have not known actually. Okay, so today we're gonna focus on some character tips and showcasing a feature in the game. First of all, I'd like to show you that if you go to a character, right, and you go to skill, and here you can upgrade their talents, but also you can press here and you can see their gimmick. Every character has a gimmick that you should be focusing. For example, Ellen, when you double dash and you run, you do extra damage and you get in stacks. So make sure you always check this out and use your character's gimmick to the fullest, because if you don't, you lose damage. Alright, okay. Next thing is, in the room, the video room where you do a quest, there is a VR device here that you can go in and obviously do some tutorials here and you can get currency for them. But also there is free training. There's free training here, which I'm gonna do right now, and I'm gonna showcase some things to you that you might have not known about. Okay, save and exit. Deploy. Let's get into the battle and let's see. Okay. As you can see, I'm entering the battle and the enemy is running at me. Actually, you can use a lot of settings here. You can make the enemy stop moving, you can make them invulnerable, you can use them stunnable or not, enemy levels, let's crank him up, character assaultment, blah blah blah, all of this. You can change them. You can have like a target dummy, like that. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about to you is about skill usage on characters. But I think something people don't realize and a lot of content creators do not talk about is you actually should be using your character's skill on cooldown. Like in between your basic attacks, you should be using the skill even if your energy is not charged up and you don't have the X, you still want to use the skill. For example, enemy doesn't have X right now, energy, right? And you would just basic attack, right? Or like this, you will stop and do this, right? But actually it would be more damage and more stun bar if you do the normal combo with their skill, and faster, and you will inflict more days. Okay, another thing I wanted to cover this time is Sokaku. Sokaku is actually support, but you may not know this, but her multipliers are actually huge. Sokaku deals tons of damage, but she's not a DPS, she's a burst. What do I mean by that? By that I mean she deals damage in short periods of time and a lot of it, but if she stays on the field for a long period of time, her DPS will fall off. That's why you want to only have her on field when you parry and use your spin attack, right, with chain attacks to buff up, or when she has energy. Especially if you have a signature engine, W engine, her skill usages you will use 4 times and you will buff up. You will give a buff to your team. You give some attack. Another thing is, each E when you have energy will give you a stack. You see top left, we built some energy on her. You can see that. Also every full chain attack, every full attack, I guess, attack chain, basic attack chain that you hit will give her a stack. And also when you, oh my god, he got stunned again. Not only that, but also when you use X skill, it will give you a stack, and you activate that by holding E. So what I wanted to cover is that when your DPS, for example my Ellen Joe, runs out of energy, I should not be using her right now. I should be swapping to Sokaku, using E 4 times, right, and then swap to Ellen Joe. I should be using Sokaku, because Sokaku E deals huge amount of damage, and when she's stacked up and you hold E, you get a big buff, big attack buff. As you can see, it's just buffed up. Also, another tip is that Sokaku E is actually ranged. It's kinda weird. She has a flag and she like shoots a projectile. I actually didn't know that at first. When she has X, her E is actually ranged. So you can use that to your advantage too. Right? Another thing about Ellen Joe that you might have not known, like when she does this, right, she gains stacks, right? But actually that's not all. You know that her skill also gives her stacks, obviously. Wait, let's make the enemy not stunnable, so this be easier. Disable. Okay, let's accumulate some energy on our Ellen Joe. Her skill actually has two parts to it. It's not just one attack. If you have enough energy for two skills on Ellen Joe, if you use them consecutively, she will do a special attack that does more damage, like this. She will do a combo attack and give you more stacks. Also, another tip is when you're dazed, when an enemy is dazed and is stunned, only then you want to use your ultimate ability. That's the window when the enemies take more damage. Let's look at it. Stunnable enemies, enable. Right, let's stun this guy. Oh, it is kindle. No. Disable. Stunnable, yes. No wait, invulnerable. Yes. Okay, let's stun this boy. Right, he's stunned. And as you can see, here it says damage 150%. This is the time that you actually want to use your ultimate abilities, because you will get more value out of them. That's very important, that you always use your ultimate, your damage dealer ultimate, when the enemy is stunned. Never use it, even if you're overcapping, never use your ultimate outside of the stun. Another tip is, you want, in harder battles, you always want to include a stun character on your team. For example, the only free one and the only A tier one is Envy. So you want to include Envy in most of your teams. Why? Because the faster you stun the enemy, the faster you will access the increased damage multiplier on them, right? The increased damage taken. So if you break them faster with Envy, like this, you will have an opportunity to use this and ultimate right away for the max damage. That was a lot of damage. Also, another tip is, you actually want to group enemies. You want to kite enemies in one place when you have AoE abilities. For example, Ellen, her abilities are AoE. Who's the best Ellen teammate? Sokaku. Why? Because Sokaku hold attack groups enemies into one place, allowing you to combo all of them at the same time. Not only she will give Ice Shred an attack buff, she will also group everyone perfectly for Ellen to execute. Alright, that's all the tips and tricks I wanted to cover today. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Peace.